Greetings, investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is entitled Intersections. It's part of World War Cthulhu Cold War series. Matthew Sanderson is our game master, and this is episode 5. Our recap will be given by Thomas McKeon as his character, Steve Combs. So without further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Thomas?
Thanks, Tom. In his room, Steve Combs removes an audio recorder from his duffel. From there, he proceeds up to the roof, sitting alone during the late night in Istanbul. Click. My name is Steve Combs. I'm an agent with the CIA in an organization called Section 46, though I'm sure you're well aware of that due to our mutual friend. I'm sure that he also has informed you of our situation, but let me inform you of what happened earlier tonight. In an attempt to get in contact with a possible KGB agent named Kazakov, my team and I posed as trade delegates during an approach with a man named Majesh. I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, but all these Turks basically have the same name, don't they? My team and him discussed a meeting Kazakov there at the Galata Tower, where Majesh informed my party that the two had been in contact for some time. The Turk was acting as well was acting as a wall in case his superiors caught wind of his possible little interview with us. The reason Kazakov is coming to us is because he's met with a moral dilemma. He feels he cannot continue acting with the agencies he's aligned with, and that whatever they're doing will jeopardize more lives than what it's worth. Personally, I believe this has to do with nukes. After all, we're on the NATO stockpile here in Turkey, and Kazakov was a captain aboard a nuclear sub. Not to mention, we've brought a nuclear physicist to verify what Kazakov has to say. As for Kazakov's partner, it's likely that Tumanov is KGB as well, and it wouldn't be surprising that if he caught wind of Kazakov's defection interests, he'd ice him. So we're treading carefully on that end. Kazakov wishes to meet us at a cafe in about 2 days for the interview at noon. The venue, however, is a little odd. It's a cafe in a graveyard, or at least near a graveyard. So we at least have that lead on that end. On 46 end, however, we found some other leads from the Turk. Turns out the Brotherhood of the Skin pretty much broke up after some unknowns came into Istanbul during the 20s and 30s. They've been pretty weak, but still holding their power in the area. Then came competition. An unknown group entered the region and, according to Majesh, in nearly a single night slaughtered what was left of the Brotherhood. An all-out war has been happening underground between several factions. We got some names to follow up on, primarily the Disciples of the Tesseract, the Brotherhood of the Yellow Sign, and others. We were told by Majesh that one such group would most likely speak to us if contacted, and that would be the aforementioned Disciples of the Tesseract. Majesh's contact with the group, a man named Ilnas, was a member of the group, and also a faculty member of the University of Istanbul. Majesh pointed us in that direction to learn more about the group, speaking with his co-workers and his former lover, Miriam Koch. With all that information, we made our way from Galata Tower, and we're back at our apartments. Now, before I end this message, let me state a few things. First, what I do not believe is of any interest to us right now. As we delve further into this, however, I believe I will find better pieces of information to use than what I've obtained, if you understand what I'm talking about. Second, I believe the others are on to you. Contact me personally when you'd like to make a physical meeting. For now, I must decline. Insert yourself is my recommendation. At that point, we'll have a better opportunity of assisting our friend. You know the standard protocol. Destroy this after listening. I hit end, and after I do my thing, I'm going to go to bed. And that's where we leave off, with us waking up after H has awoken us.
Indeed. So thank you very much, Tom. Right. We had a little bit of extra content with Eamon that when he opened his eyes, there was a familiar yellow-veiled figure standing over him that said all you had to do was ask. And everyone else was then awoken by this roar and the flapping of tremendous wings over the building outside, and the shadow moving over the windows. That's where we left it. What do you do?
What time in the morning or night is it?
Looking outside, there is again a completely cloudless sky with stars shining brightly, not in any seemingly pattern that you recognise. There's no immediate constellations that seem to stand out, but you can see, looking over the skyline, this mishmash of different time periods, buildings from different points in Istanbul or Constantinople's past that spread out into the distance. It's very reminiscent of the skyline that you saw when you were previously at the Peripalace Hotel.
We're here again. All right. Light a cigarette and walk out into the hallway.
Okay, well, the hallway looks pretty much exactly as it did when you went to sleep.
Now, is this for all of us? Because we've all been woken by the roar?
Yeah, for all of you. I think there was a quick, frantic cry of someone screaming, "Bottlenose dolphin!"
That would have been Dr. Jacoby, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put on my robe, and since I'm on the top floor, I'm just heading up to the roof. Because I figure we'll all make our way there eventually.
Yeah. I'll put on my robe, which looks an awful lot like this. Medical.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
All right.
the way.
Can I look out my window and see what made the noise?
Yeah. You can see something flying off into the distance. You can give me a sanity roll.
Okay. Oh boy, 82.
Oh, hard success.
I will double check the book, but I'm fairly certain if you succeed, it's 0. If you fail, it's a D6, but I will just check that.
Ooh.
Dang.
I don't like those odds.
And yes, it is. Yep, 0/1d6.
Oh boy.
Oh, nothing here. Yikes.
2. Wasn't too bad.
All or two. Yeah.
So I'm with Ian. I've walked out into the hallway and gone upstairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you can reach the roof without any difficulty.
What did I see that caused insanity? Is it just? Is it a dragon?
That's the best way you can describe it, except it's other features other than what you would necessarily associate with a dragon. It has scales. It has a very leathery skin. It's about the size of an elephant, with a long neck that almost resembles, at first glance, and this is in the distance as it's fairly dark out there, so you're catching more outlines rather than specific details, apart from, say, the light shining off its skin. But it almost looks like, rather than a dragon's head, almost like a horse at the end of its long neck. There's elements of horse. There's comparable size to an elephant, but then with almost reptilian skin and these long, leathery wings, which are propelling it very, very lumberously and very laboriously through the sky. It's dipping and diving with every flap of its wings. And it's heading off in the distance towards... which, when you look at from your vantage point, you see a good degree of the skyline. You can work out the rough area that you would correspond with Istanbul at the moment.
Okay.
It's heading in the direction of where the Hajj Sophia would be, so on the other side of the Golden Horn. And off in that direction, it's not the large mosque with its very minarets and towers and dome roof that you would expect. Instead, you see something that projects several hundred feet over the rest of the skyline, and it looks a little like this.
Oh. That's cool.
That's nice.
Yep, you can see the long also ramp leading up to a definite entrance in this thing. There's no signs of life around there. There's no windows apart from at the top of the structure that you can see. But even then, there's only... It might even be a dim light from inside. It might be light shining through from the far side. Off way in on the horizon, it almost looks like the sun is trying to rise. But it's not quite a sun. If anything, it seems more like a huge conflagration, a huge fireball that's just lingering on the very far edge of the horizon. It doesn't seem to rise at all. It's not moving like the sunrise. You could watch it over a period of minutes slowly get larger and larger as it comes above the horizon. This is just fire on the very periphery of vision.
And is that like a bridge, it looks like, going over water?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a bridge. It goes across the Golden Horn. So this would be roughly where the likes of the Galata Tower, not the Galata Tower, the Galata Bridge would be.
Oh, okay.
That's a big old tower in the middle? Right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, 4 towers surrounding it. It looks like from where you are made an octagon of smaller towers that surround the whole complex. Then 4 within inside and 1 central tower that they're all connected to.
I don't fully know the area too well, so I'm just going to try to... I know the landscape is different than what I'm used to looking at, but I'm going to try to make a mental note so that if I should come out of this, I can maybe orient it somehow.
Yeah, you'd be heading down, following the Galata Bridge across the Golden Horn. You would head towards where the Spice Bazaar is, and then that in turn leads into the Grand Bazaar. This complex seems to stretch over that whole area, and then into where the likes of the Hajj Sophia would be, so the larger, big, iconic mosques of the city.
Okay.
And this thing is lumbering through the air in that general direction, getting smaller as it goes.
Okay, good. As long as it's going away.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely going away from you. It's following its line of trajectory. It basically flew over your building and now is heading that way.
Okay.
Now, those of you that reach the top of the building, the flat ledge can maybe see something off in the distance, but it's too small at that point to warrant a sanity check. It's, if anything, just looks like a big bird.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I noticed because I didn't look out my window. I just went out. See if anybody else came out.
I want to look for a tower specifically from what I was told. I didn't get any details. So I don't know if that's something I can see or relate to, or if there's something else.
Now, if you head up and look around, that is the tallest thing by far. This dominates the skyline in this place.
And forgive me, I need help. When we were back at the night before, and I said we could just ask H or something, and then she came to me in the dream. I don't remember what I was saying that about.
I had a rewatch of that just to make doubly sure.
Thank you, because
your specific question was, why can't we ask H who took out the Brotherhood of the Skin? She must know.
Okay, thank you. So I'll step up to Jacoby and open my pack of cigarettes and offer him one if he wants. How we are again.
We can assume that we're in a dream.
Hmm?
Ian. Where are the others? I guess they still haven't come up yet, huh? So we can also assume we're being spied upon.
Yeah.
At the moment. Fender Museum discussion.
I point to the tower, like that way out in the distance, like, I think we might eventually need to go there if we want answers.
What makes you think that?
Yeah, what makes you think that, Frodo?
Just have a hunch.
Young agents with hunches, yes.
Well, a hunch is as good as a wink to a blind bat.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you. I'm trying to put it all together in my mind first.
Let's go check on the others. I'll run down and check on them, see if everything's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How are you reacting in your various rooms to this?
I've got earplugs in, so I'm sleeping. I have tinnitus, so I'm just asleep.
Fair enough.
How about Natalia?
Well, I was going to say that once we heard that noise, I was going to actually get up, throw on some robes, and I know that people sort of meet up at the roof, so I was going to head up to the roof.
Okay.
To see, to talk to the others.
So you probably meet me as I'm coming down.
Yeah.
Oh, Natalia, you're awake.
Yeah. What the hell was that?
Is this the first time Natalia's been here with us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Natalia, be careful. We aren't awake. This is a dream. And we have reason to believe that someone that we have been calling H is able to monitor our dreams by some means, probably some device the Russians have come up with, who knows. But be careful what you think and say. We're going to meet up on the roof.
I'll meet you up there. Well, I'm heading up there now.
Ian and Eamon are up there right now. So then I go knock on Robert's door. Robert, are you awake?
Yeah, what's going on?
We're meeting up on the roof. This is a dream.
Okay, another shared dream. All right.
And then Henry's door. Knock, knock, knock.
Hello.
Are you awake?
That's a big question, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not awake. We're all meeting up on the roof.
Well, I mean, this is clearly another dream. I'm just going to refuse to interact with it.
All right.
So
well, we were going to discuss it.
I'm just going to sit in bed and wait until it's gone.
Okay, we'll tell you what we find out in the morning. Remember the dolphin. And then I go knock on Steve's door.
Mm-hmm.
No answer.
What? As I wave my arm, I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I didn't go to bed.
Oh, you heard me knock?
Yeah, I'm just assuming you're a big enough guy to where if you knock.
You didn't hear the giant roaring dragon, but
suspension of disbelief. What the fuck do you want?
Go with the game. Go with the game.
Bust down your door. We're having one of our things. This is a dream world we're stuck in again.
And I kind of just like sit up and take out the earbuds and then walk to the door in my pajamas because, if this is a dream world, I'm just going to walk around in my pajamas.
They're dream pajamas, yeah. That's why I'm dressed like a doctor in my dream.
I know. You just sleep in the lab coat.
No, not usually.
Oh.
All right, let's go. Well, we're going to head upstairs if you want to join us.
I'm coming. I'm following behind you.
All right, so we all end up on the roof, except for Henry. Henry felt safer in his room. Who he's going to discuss the giant, the largest ball of twine with. We really could use him. He's really inventive. So, well, gentlemen, here we are again. Robert, why are you shaking? That's you, Jeff.
It's muted.
He's also muted.
Sorry, I'm muted. Did you guys not see what that was?
I didn't see anything. I heard something though.
Heard things.
Maybe that's for the best.
What did you see?
What did you see?
It's hard to describe. Some sort of strange winged creature, I'm going to say. Long neck, elephant, horse head. But
really?
Where is it?
So I don't know if this is just a figment of my imagination or if you all would have seen the same thing. I'm not sure.
Well, we saw something in the distance when we first came up on the roof, but you must have been looking out your window when we were walking up the stairs, maybe. Because I think my assumption here is that we all woke up at the same time. I looked at my watch and
Something roared. Is that what it was?
we did hear. I'd heard a roar.
Yeah, I heard a roar and a flapping sound.
Okay.
Eamon seems to think that we're supposed to go over there to that big tower.
What now?
I don't know.
You're gonna trust the being who appears to us in our dreams?
No, I'm trusting Eamon.
Well, I'm talking to Eamon. You're gonna trust the being who comes to us in our dreams to give us the right information?
Well, yeah. So he like looks around kind of bashfully and stamps out his.
If it's a dream, can anything hurt us? And I say that, and then I look at my hand, and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is not an ordinary dream, and I maybe have had a visit from the yellow lady just before we woke up here.
Really?
H.
Yeah.
Then maybe Eamon should go. We should stay here and Eamon goes.
I inquired about what we were talking about last night, the cults, right? Before bedtime.
Yeah.
And she just replied to me and said all I had to do was inquire with her. And she said to check out the tower for the answers. And I point out at the tower, and I'm like, on so far, at least here, most the biggest place there is. Now, maybe she means someplace in the waking world, but we have all of these other buildings and places and time that might be worth exploring to see.
Oh no! She's a known enemy, so to speak, of our organization.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we should have anything to do with her.
But the thing is, I mean, could she kill us right here where we're standing as easy as over there? Does it really matter where we are?
I think that she'd rather get information out of us and then kill us rather than just kill us.
Yeah.
We don't know that you can actually die in a dream. We don't know that. So normally when you get killed in a dream, you just wake up.
I'm not volunteering for that.
Just saying, it wasn't hurt just to look around a bit. We don't have to talk about things we know. We can just walk around.
Well, I've lived in this city for a while, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matthew, I don't know of any building that corresponds to that exact spot over there. That's
nothing like that.
Nothing like that. I mean, the top of it sort of has a rough shape like the Galata Tower, but...
And minarets are all over Turkey.
Minarets are everywhere. Every mosque has one.
Mm-hmm.
Hagia Sophia is over there, but I don't see it in this landscape. So I don't know where we would go if we were going there in the waking world. It might only exist in this dream realm.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I think we need to go walk over there.
Or we could try to wake up.
Well, if she's trapped us in here like last time, that's not an easy task, because I jammed a fork into my hand and I still didn't wake up.
So you're thinking that we're here until she decides to let us go?
No, we can try to wake up. I don't know how to do that, though. I could throw myself off the building.
I wouldn't advise that.
Right. Hope that it works, but
crazy here.
What if I'm wrong?
What? Can we have guns? Can I conjure a gun? Matthew? Think about it.
If you want to, give me a dreaming roll.
Oh, that's right. We all got points in dreaming now.
Yep.
Where is that? Is that that was a separate stat.
It'd be a separate skill.
Yeah.
It's not on the basic sheet.
Okay, we got 10, I think, right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have 14.
I have 12.
Oh, that was right. It was based off one of
It's a
our
fifth of your
stats.
power. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't expect to
Got
get this. It's only a 10, but I got a 15. I was close. Okay. I try.
You can spend luck.
Spend luck in the Dreamlands.
Yeah, 3 luck. Hell. For a
5 points.
bazooka?
Okay. I think Eamon like focuses
Think
really
big.
hard and looks at his hand, and I spend an extra 5 luck to make it a 10 on the dot.
Okay. What type of gun do you want?
Right now, he's just thinking of the same handgun that he has in the Waking World, just because he's familiar with it. So he's thinking of the most familiar things he can concentrate on easier.
Okay, a normal handgun then would be 1d10 damage that it would make. It costs you 10 magic points to create a gun because the weapon cost or creating weapons in the Dreamlands, you take the maximum damage that the weapon could do, and that's how many magic points it costs.
I have exactly 10.
There you go. You cross them all off.
Is this like
Now,
one of
is,
those?
is magic renewable?
Yeah. Normally, it renews at 1 magic point per hour, or if you have a restful, uninterrupted night's sleep, then the whole lot will come back.
Okay.
And
But
this is,
as you can guess, this is probably not a restful, uninterrupted night's sleep.
No.
I think it's new to everybody, right? At this point, like this is new to all of us.
Sure.
Is
So
this
I mean,
like
I
one of
don't.
those twisted dreams where you actually have to be like super specific with what your class. Like I'm imagining now you have a gun that is actually a hand.
Nah.
Thank you.
Well, that depends. If you want to go that very Videodrome like route, then you certainly can do. Otherwise, it would be the gun as you know it and are familiar with it in the waking world.
Okay.
For those of you that are around him when he does this, there's just this look of concentration as he's looking down at his empty hand with his finger grasped where a trigger should be. And it's almost not like a flash of light, but it just seems to fade into existence and gradually become more substantial in his hand. And then there's a gun there.
Well,
What the hell?
We could do magic. Oh my goodness.
Magic. I just thought of it. It's me 38. Same thing. Yeah, there's a scope mark on it. I have. See?
This changes everything.
Yeah, we could be safe here. He says just because he's
He's the only one armed.
well, he's also like that's his life is well military. So he's like, I have a weapon. I'm good. Well, he's kind of lit up, and then he looks over. I think because I didn't think about this till now. Like looks over at Natalia, who's new here. He's like, "What do you think of this place?"
Interesting. Looks like the real world. I like that little magic trick you did. How'd you do it?
I thought of. I just wanted to be armed. I thought of the gun I have just because it's easy to think about. The one I actually have back in my real room, and I don't know. I just focused on it, and I saw it. Just I don't know. Focus, thinking. Try it. Try something.
Yes, but please not a nuclear missile.
Well,
She's a physicist.
try like a beaker or something or whatever it is physicists
No.
use. I don't
No.
know.
Imagine
Yeah.
how many
12.
magic points that would take.
If you're thinking of something that's not a weapon, now this could be the way you get round the bomb aspect. It's 1 magic point for every 5 points of size that the thing has.
Oh,
So it's obviously something larger takes more effort.
Gotcha.
So you could make a replica of a nuclear bomb that doesn't function as a bomb.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you would be, say, running through magic points and through a lot of hit points very quickly to do something that does that kind of damage.
Okay. Well, I failed anyway, so it doesn't matter.
which is what would a nuke be? 1 million hit?
I think they're listed in the core book as being just irrelevant. It's just atomized over an area.
Well, I can't think of anything to try. So
I failed my roll, so
Think of what to use in your lab there when you dissecting them fish people. Scalpels, prongs, tongs, things.
Hmm.
Those little things you
Yeah, I
stick
don't
on your
have
body
some.
to measure brain waves and things.
I could like do a cattle prod or something.
There you go.
I use that on my assistant regularly.
And he likes it.
Whatever happens between consenting adults in an enclosed environment, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, interesting. Are we going to have a walk down through this? What dangers might be out there in this bizarre world that we're looking at?
Yeah, can I just remind you that there are dreams and there are also nightmares. I don't know if we know which one we're in right now.
I think it kind of seems like all the same thing.
Pretty much a nightmare.
You saw
Well, it also seems to me that the longer we're here and the more active that we are, the longer we're going to stay here. You know, remember how Henry got us out last time because she couldn't get anything from us. So if we all just sit around and smoke cigarettes for the rest of the night, she's probably going to run out of patience and wait and send us back.
We could do that, or we could explore.
I want to.
What difference is it going to make?
Wait, this is okay. Maybe she's a lawyer, but maybe she's leading to something. Maybe she has her own agenda. Of course, probably, but we might find answers here.
Why don't we just take this all with a grain of salt?
Yeah.
You know, don't give it any more weight than what it is. It's a dream.
If she wants information out of us, I don't think she'll let us just get killed, wandered around. She wants us alive.
Once again, I don't know if killing you in the dream world does anything.
I don't want to risk it. That's why I made this.
Henry wanted to stay, but I think we should go knock on his door and see if we can convince him to come with us. If that's what we're going to do.
All right.
All right.
Eamon?
Ian, I don't want to pressure you if you really don't feel comfortable. I don't want to leave you alone or anything.
No, I'll wander with everyone, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Eamon, do you think your gun works?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's got a full magazine and one in the pipe, so it looks like it worked.
Yeah, he probably would like check that, the cool bullet thing and just put it in and check it. He's like, seems like it's going to, but I hate to waste a bit of ammunition just testing it out.
Oh, good. Let's wait until we need it to find out it doesn't work.
That's what I was thinking. Exactly.
You young people.
I got 8 shots. What if I need 8? I only have 7.
Mm-hmm.
It just a little thing comes out and it says bang.
Just little tiny water balloons.
Oh,
Very well could. I don't know if it's worth it to. I mean,
maybe we shouldn't suggest that before we use it. Shoot bullets.
I will give Eamon an idea roll, though.
do it.
right, and that's just int, right?
Yep.
Okay. Nope. I rolled a 77 out of 67.
Okay. No.
Spend. Spend.
No, I'm not spending 10 more luck.
I say we don't just sit around talking about it. Let's go do something. So I start for the stairs.
Let's go gather Henry.
Okay. Now, I've sent a couple of messages to Henry. You have the option, if you think they make a convincing argument, that you could go with them, perhaps, or you can stick with as we've currently discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Knock, knock, knock. Henry.
Okay. You knock on the door.
Henry. No answer, huh?
No. Give me a listen roll.
53. My listen. Got everything buried on here. Listen is 60. Yeah, so I passed.
It's only for a brief second, or maybe even half a second, but as you knock on the door and lean close, you think you hear drums, the beating of drums on the other side of the door, and then it's quiet.
What the hell? Did any of you hear the drums? Henry, are you okay?
Who are you
There's
talking
no
about?
response.
You're down alone, right?
What's that?
You went down alone, didn't you?
Well, I didn't know if you were following me or not.
Probably. I mean, we're probably all single file and going down, like stop at his room on the way, unless we kept walking or something. Unless you stayed on the roof.
Henry, if you don't open the door now, I'm going to break the door down.
There's no response.
Oh, crap. So did you guys follow me? Are you guys coming up behind me?
I'm with you.
There's something going on in there. It's weird. I heard drums. You want to help me break down the door?
I assume Ian was following us. I don't know about Natalia, Steve, or Robert.
How about you, Eamon? Help me.
I mean, I will if no one else is there.
I'll help you.
All right.
Okay, in which case, between the three of you, it's only a regular sized door. You cannot really get anyone more than three going at this thing. With a good shove between you, the door cracks open, and there's an empty room. There's no sign of Henry.
Oh, shit. Any sign of what was making the drumming noise?
Nothing.
Oh. Well, maybe he woke up.
Yeah, that's an interesting hypothesis. If someone wakes up when we all don't wake up, do they disappear? Interesting.
Is his window open?
No, it's just the room is pristine in its condition. Even the bed doesn't look as though it's been slept in. It's as if he was never here.
But he did answer
Earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
Dr. Jacoby earlier. Okay.
Maybe he went back to sleep in the dreamland and ended up back. Who knows? He's not here. Can't worry about
I'm
it.
going to call out and yell. Henry, can you hear us?
There's the sound of the wind outside, but otherwise nothing.
Windows not open, not in the bathroom, not in the closet, just gone.
Yep.
That's another good question. As we're kind of looking out across the landscape and stuff, do we notice any other movement? Like, are there people, traffic, noises, anything like that?
It is as if it's a dead city.
Only ones here, I guess.
Yeah, you are the only sign of life here at all, apart from the thing that flew over the skyline.
Yeah.
And flew directly over the building. It's even looking outside and looking between the streets, very much like as it was at the Pera Palace. You have this desolate feel. The windows are blown out on some of the buildings. Curtains are billowing like eyelids out from these vacant slots. And the wind almost sounds like it's a moaning cry at times. Maybe just how it's blowing through the building, but maybe something more. That it's just this utter feeling of loneliness.
Well,
perfect.
Let's stick to our plan. At least there's nothing out there trying to eat us.
Yeah.
Except for that giant horse, elephant, dragon thing. Just keep our eyes on the sky.
Horse, elephant, dragon thing. All right. Well, I'm for going. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm curious as well.
I've never had a dream this vivid, except for that last dream where I poked myself with a fork.
So, Matthew, if we want to keep trying to conjure up a weapon, the first thing we do is roll our dreaming.
That's right.
And then after we roll the dreaming, we have to roll magic equivalent to, well, we have to have enough magic points to spend on like a handgun or whatever our magic is.
You spend assuming you pass the dreaming roll.
Yes.
You spend a number of magic points equal to the maximum damage the weapon could make on a regular dice roll. So, for instance, if it's a D10 gun, you would cross off 10 magic points.
Got it.
If you haven't got 10 magic points, or however many you need, the excess comes off your hit points.
Oh.
If you then hit 0 hit points, good night, Vienna.
Got it. All right. I need to figure out how many magic points I need.
Well, and how often can we try that dreaming thing?
I think it's 1/5 your POW.
Yeah, I would say you can try every few minutes. It wouldn't count necessarily as a pushed roll in this case because you've got time. You're not under pressure as such. As you are aware by looking around, there is no one else here.
I am completely unfamiliar with fighting. So, well, let's go, gentlemen. Let's get down to the bottom of this building. I go.
Yeah, I follow.
Okay. Yep. You get down to the ground level without any problem. Again, the interior of the building looks exactly as it does in the waking world. Nothing is different here. When you step outside the building, so the exterior is the same, but then the rest of the buildings around you on the street and on the subsequent streets are all different. It's, again, a mishmash of different times. You have everything from the Roman era through Victorian through to the modern day, and some even that look maybe postmodern. Some structures very, lots of glass, lots of metal, but again, all deserted and empty.
Well, let's see. If we're going to make our way towards that fortress, I guess we can call it, I suppose we need to go this way. Now, practically, how long would it take us to walk this in the real world? Hours?
Probably about half an hour. It's not too far to go across Bellahood to get to the ground, to get to the Golden Horn, and then cross the bridge from there.
Okay.
I actually, I go up next to Eamon and I elbow him, and I hold up my gun.
Oh, you got one?
I got one. I have my Walther.
All right, there's the spirit.
If we're gonna go, we're gonna go, man.
It's you and me.
Okay. Yeah, it's a terrible gun.
It's a gun.
It jams just as badly here as it does in the waking world.
Exactly.
That's better than nothing. I guess you and me are scouting and going here. Let's walk.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
Power walk or whatever, right?
Yeah, surprisingly, as you walk through these empty and barren streets, you don't really seem to get tired very much. Or at least physically tired, this is. You're neither thirsty nor hungry, and just the sound of the wind just moans around you as you walk. That it's an eerie feeling that only seems to really intensify as you get towards the tower, especially as you start walking across the lake, not the lake, the river, the Golden Horn. The water below is almost like an oil slick. It's maybe slowly moving, it's hard to tell. The wind is definitely causing ripples on its surface, but it doesn't seem like water, or if it is, it's bottomless without any hint of where the bottom goes. The occasional glint of light reflecting on it in the myriad of colours gives it this very oil slick-like appearance. You get to the far side of the bridge and find there is a portcullis, but it has risen so that you are allowed straight through. In the courtyard that surrounds the interior structure of 5 towers, the one central and then the 4 that surround it, there are a series of braziers which have been set up that are burning, roaring with flame, illuminating the area. It has a very medieval, almost, feel to it.
Wow.
That's like, it's not life, but that's like the biggest sign of something else, right? Or these so the braziers are lit.
Yeah, they're roaring with flame. There's a couple which are either side of the main entrance that as you pass by, it maybe takes you a couple of seconds to think, I should be feeling some heat from that. There's no heat.
Yeah, it's like...
Just like no heat.
You put your hands into it and they don't burn.
It's like some sort of an optical illusion. Like a hologram.
Yes, that's the best way to describe it. It's emitting light, but no heat and no substance.
Makes sense if we're dreaming. I get hurt by it.
The whole thing is an illusion, isn't it? I mean, this isn't real.
So.
This is
get some answers and get the hell out of here.
I just passed my dreaming roll.
Mm-hmm.
I want to create my medical bag with contents. What would I do for that? I mean, it's not very big.
Mm-hmm. You could potentially have scalpels in there, or at least items that could cause harm.
Well, I'm thinking more along the lines of, if we're caused dream harm, I want things that can fix dream wounds.
Oh, I see. So more like a first aid kit rather than something used as well. I'm probably only going to say that's going to be a couple of magic points then. One for the size of the case and one for the contents.
Okay, so I took down two magic points.
I forgot to mention this. I'd like to be keeping my head on a swivel, basically. But you got distracted by the fire. But yeah, looking
You
out.
still have to make your roll, though, don't you, Tom?
What's that?
You still have to roll against your dreaming skill in order.
Oh, I did.
Oh, okay.
I did just that. That's what I asked. He said every few minutes, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, at the moment you're not in a pressured environment, so it's basically just as you move from one location to the next, you can try again. But obviously your magic points won't be refreshing. So.
Not trying to break the game, Matthew, but I'm curious. How would LeBeau go about summoning a person?
Ah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is testing my knowledge because I haven't read that particular part of the thing.
Sorry.
I think there is
really not that important. I'm like playing with things in my head. So
I think it is possible, but there are caveats on it that it's only something that would be born out of your memories of them. They wouldn't necessarily be the real person. If you're, for instance, trying to summon Henry, it would be your vision or your memory of Henry that is what you draw upon.
Okay.
Size would then be, you would take the size of the person, so then divide by 5 as per their size stat. So like for an average person, you're looking at 55, so it's 11 magic points.
Okay.
But then intelligence and so on is more on top of that from memory.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right.
Okay.
So now
you are in the courtyard.
We're in the courtyard, and then is there the tower? Does that have now another door?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are 4 main exterior doors that lead into one each on the 4 towers that are at compass points, and then the one central tower that rises up from the middle of those.
And still no people of any kind.
You can give me a listen roll.
I would like. Can I do something similar or a spot hidden or anything like that? Just looking around?
It's mainly hearing at this point because you don't have the right vantage point to see where they are.
Okay.
I don't see any. I don't hear anything.
I'll let Jacoby do it. Or can we?
Yeah, anyone that's present can make the roll if they wish.
I would like to do that. I rolled 100.
You hear nothing.
I go deaf.
One of your ears falls off.
You spent too many magic points when?
Wow.
I'm curious, have we seen anything that would be considered living, like plants or trees or grass or anything like that?
There are hints of dead trees and so on around. So again, there seems to be elements or attempts at replicating life, but it's only the dead shadow of what they're trying to make appear here that's here. Just checking with, again, reading the messages. Are you trying to do that, LeBeau?
No.
Right, okay.
I'm thinking about it, but I'm not going to.
That would take a definite turn for the, surreal right there.
Yep, exactly.
Right, but no one passes the listen roll.
Oh, I'm sorry. One moment.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, I did. Yeah, 04.
Ah, okay.
I'm a listening fool.
Nice work.
You catch what's, and this is mainly when the wind blows in the right direction. You think with, I presume that's an extreme, that
yes.
It's a female voice, definitely, and almost sounds like chanting. Not in any ominous fashion, but almost like someone repeating a mantra to themselves. coming from way up on high. So somewhere towards the top of one of those towers, maybe even the one furthest up, because it is very faint. It's only the briefest hint on the wind that it just happened to be blowing the right direction when you caught it.
I'll point that out to everyone else and say, I'm hearing a woman chanting. It's faint, but it's there, and it's coming from there.
From the tower?
So we're still, it sounds like it's coming from the towers, I swear.
Yes. I guess we go. Or
Guess
in
we go.
first. In first. And then...
So far, we haven't seen anyone. All right, let's go in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Take up
Right.
position by the door, right?
Are we walking across? Have we walked across the bridge yet?
Yeah, you're in the courtyard in the,
Okay.
the octagon base.
I missed that. Sorry. Yep.
What do the doors, individual doors for these smaller, the surrounding towers look like? Are they like one giant door, or like a double, or like?
They're more like archways. The doors themselves, they're open. They're big, thick, heavy wooden doors with bars that would slide across, but they're all open. They lead into what would be almost like an entrance foyer, a circular area where there are then stairs that go up a helial staircase inside the gap. Each level then seems to have doors which go off staggered to larger rooms around the outside. These rooms are the same on the ground floor as well. The best way to describe it is think of a medieval hostel. You have rooms that are full of crates, full of what seem to be basic bunk beds, made of very cheap wood, some fresh mattresses that have been laid down on top of them. It seems to be very basic accommodation, but for a lot of people, and still no one is around.
Like an army?
Like an army, or give me an idea, Roll, to see if you can come up with a better analogy.
Yep, 55 out of 70.
Maybe army, but more likely refugee camp.
Okay. And I'll just kind of mumble that out loud to the rest of the group so that we're all on the same page. We know what we're thinking.
You said there was like crates of supplies?
Yeah, it looks like if you wandered over to one that's maybe got the lid slightly off, you can see blankets, you can see very basic tin cutlery, so like forks, plates, spoons, cups, mugs, that kind of thing. It seems all mass-produced, but identical, even down to the flaws in the metalwork.
And did you say they were in fairly good condition?
Yeah, they're kind of average. They look new, but basic. And they're all carbon copies of one another.
Could I take out a blanket?
Mm-hmm.
If you wrap a blanket around your hands, in a couple seconds you can feel the warmth just because of the body heat.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to see if I feel heat.
Yeah, that does. It definitely feels soft to the touch. It looks coarse, but it feels rough. It feels soft, rather.
Yeah.
But I feel heat. Does it not generate heat, but does I feel, if you put a blanket around.
Yeah, when it's around yourself, your latent heat that you produce is fed back to you, so yes.
Does it seem to you like
it's working?
Maybe this was the last bastion of civilization and the rest of the world was destroyed around it? Because it looks like refugees stayed here.
Or they're preparing for refugees.
That's what I feel.
Maybe, but we haven't seen anybody.
Yeah, they're not here yet. There's no need yet.
Right.
There'll be a need soon.
Or they're already gone. What if we're here later?
Nothing's been used here.
Right.
Well, you don't know what we've seen. We've seen all different types of architecture out there, all different time periods.
I was going to ask, are there any other maybe clues lying about that might indicate whether or not there might be people hiding around, or if not, how long ago they might have left, if we can determine what time it is in this dream world?
Okay, I'd say Natalia's been fairly quiet, watching the room around you and so on. I won't won't put you through a spot hidden roll, so you've got enough time to have a look around. You definitely catch signs that there are signs and evidence of people having gone through here. This is not a completely abandoned area, but you only catch sight of 2 sets of footprints. Both of them are from your experience, you think female. One of them is barefoot. The other one is wearing regular flat-soled shoes. But there's only the 2 sets. That's it. There's no one else has been moving around here. It seems like, pretty much as Summerton says, this is a place that is being prepped to be used. No, the masses have yet to descend on this area.
So the beds are all made. Everything is neat and clean, or more or less organized.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put 2 and 2 together, and with the female mantra singing and the female footprints, I'm going to follow those footprints if there's a pretty obvious trail heading somewhere.
Yeah, it heads up. It heads up the Helios staircase. When it gets to a point which would be corresponding to the interior wall of the middle tower, there is a door which leads into the middle tower and the middle tower construct.
At the top of the stairs, you're saying.
I'm just gonna. I'll nudge Eamon again, and I'll point to the footprints, and I'm gonna head up the stairs.
Got you ready? Get your
Yeah, I'm following.
Born ready, I guess.
Are you taking point? Because I'll follow you if you're taking point.
Sure, I'll take point.
Okay.
I'm old. I have nothing to live for. I'll take point.
You've had a good life. It's all good.
Hey,
Don't say it like that. You got many years left.
I'm a company man. What can I say?
It's not funny. I'm not laughing. Anyway, I do leave the blanket behind, just to be clear on that.
Leave your whoopee behind, yes.
Yep. I should keep it as a security blanket, though. But anyway, I'll follow you, and we'll go.
Yeah.
Before we go, is there anything in that room that's small enough that I can slip it in my pocket? Just
Several stuff.
I'll say one of either like a knife or fork from the
fork.
crate.
Okay, I like the forks.
The fork again.
I stick the fork in my
Here we go.
It's going to become part of your residual self-image if you don't be careful.
Testing an idea I have.
Okay.
All right.
Testing it again. Didn't somebody else put something? LeBeau did, right? Didn't he put something in his pocket a couple of episodes ago, and it didn't come with him? Didn't come back with him?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, he had the artifact in his pocket.
Yeah, it was the artifact specifically.
Right, so to check then, Jacoby and Summerton and Eamon, you're all heading up, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sorry.
Okay. LeBeau, Combs, and Volkova, what are you doing?
What do you guys want to do? I'm not going up there.
Grab a knife and let's go.
Before I head up there, I'm actually going to follow these guys, but I do want to check the blanket real quick to see if there's any sort of hair or any other type of DNA left on it.
Oh.
Yeah,
nice.
Again, you have a good look over this, looking for anything that would stand out. It's even a couple of other blankets in there that you check as well. You get this sense of carbon copy, almost like these are photocopies of each other. They are exactly the same down to the weave, and there is no impression that these have ever been touched by human hands.
I see. All right. I'll let them know. That's a note that I'll take to myself too. Okay. All right. So I'm following these guys, but I'm behind them since they're armed and I can't seem to concentrate. To arm myself.
Well, this is your first time here. You're probably a little unnerved, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
In which case, then, as you start heading your way up and then get to one of the several doors that leads into the central tower, basically as the stair goes up, it connects with the central tower at various points. You go through any of those doors heading in. The central tower doesn't have any accommodation. it seems that the outer towers are where all the bunk beds and where all the mass sleeping quarters are. The rooms in the middle tower, the tallest tower, seem to be a bit more practical, but very sparsely furnished at the moment. There's the occasional big table or chairs, a set of chairs, desks, other rooms that may be potentially used as storerooms at some point later down the line. But it's very much the bare bones structure of what would be the supporting infrastructure to cope with a large volume of people, such as would be staying in all these other connecting towers. So there may be meeting rooms. Definitely one block you pass by looks a bit like a shower block. Again, toilets and so forth.
Multiple dining rooms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely multiple, because there'd be so many people here. Long rows of, almost like boarding school, long bench tables where you would have all the kids lined up to eat dinner and so forth.
If we kind of do the math in our head, how many people do we think this would hold?
You're probably looking, given the number of, you've gone through one tower and seen the number of rooms that would connect off that, probably somewhere in the region of about 4,000.
Okay.
Holy cow.
So this is a keep. This is where everybody runs when the war starts.
Does it have working plumbing, like bathrooms, sinks, things like that?
There's definitely evidence of plumbing. If you tried a couple of taps, nothing comes through as yet. This you get again the feeling this is a work in progress.
I guess I'm also interested in like if there's like a restroom, there's toilets, like what era are the toilets?
They are modern, as far as it's modern for the 70s, as far as you're concerned.
Are they French toilets or are they Turkish toilets?
They'd be Turkish.
Yeah.
You're having a look, though. Again, you can, those of you that are inspecting this in any kind of detail can give me an idea roll.
Right, let's do it.
Matthew, can I make a listen roll again to see if the chanting is getting louder as we approach it?
You rolled an extreme. I'll let that carry.
Okay.
It's remaining the same level, but obviously it is now. You are hearing it more because you are getting closer to it.
Good. Okay, so we're getting closer. That's okay. Cool.
I passed.
Passed as well.
Okay.
Hard, by the way.
Gotcha. Okay. For Jacoby and Eamon, then you're just regular on yours.
Yes.
Okay. Something strikes you as a little odd here, that you can't quite put your finger on it, but definitely just something here seems really out of place. It's Natalia that gets it. You don't feel tired, you don't feel the need to sleep, you don't feel physically exhausted, and you don't have any inclination to urinate, to defecate. Basically, natural bodily process here is not applying. This is a dream.
Right.
Why the toilets? Why the showers? Why everything that would be in
the beds? Why anything? Yeah.
I would imagine that it's basically to give the appearance of normal, something normal for people to be caught off guard or relaxed or something. I don't know.
Well, or it was created out of a memory.
Whose memory, though?
I don't know, but it would make sense with all of the carbon copies of things, that they're just copy after copy of the same memory over and over again.
Does anybody recognize anything? Could it be one of our memories? We think of a certain blanket. We think of what we think a medieval Turkish keep should be staffed with or be supplied with.
This is brand new to all of you.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to say you're fairly close. You're maybe a good 80% up the top, towards the top of the tower now. While you're having this discussion.
Okay.
Somerton can hear obviously the sound of this chant. Well, in fact, probably all of you now catch the occasional snippet of this chanting from this female voice happening above you. I'm going to do a quick roll. And no, wait. Nothing happens. So you have this conversation. You can still hear the chanting happening up above.
I'll keep walking.
Okay.
keeping the gun drawn.
I mean, gun drawn, you know, kind of frosty.
Yep.
So, mainly for who makes the rolls that are about to come up. Combs is the only person who is staying back, yes? Or are you following behind?
I'm staying back. I'm going to look around. Is the stairway the only... Is that the only door? Is that the only way around? Is that the only avenue that we can go?
If you remain in one of the outer towers, you have this Helios staircase which goes straight up, and then the doors that lead off that staircase lead into the various accommodation. Apart from one every so often as you go up, which then leads into the central tower, that's a bit more of a complex, where you have multiple staircases going up, going down, and connecting the various floors. They also then lead out into the other accommodation wings, the other periphery towers.
Well, I don't want to get lost in the complex alone, so I guess I'll go with the group and I'll see what they do. But I'm going to hang back. This is not real life. My fists are guns. Probably, you know, they will do very much. If we can conjure up a gun, someone can conjure up a wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hanging back. I'm like, this is completely out of my element. I'm just, you know, they can take the brunt of whatever the fuck's gonna happen.
Okay, we'll have you hanging back then, so you don't see immediately what the rest of them see, so you don't have to make the roll.
Sure.
Did LeBeau
Prepare your sanity rolls, people.
Mm-hmm.
Did Robert LeBeau come up with this? Did you?
Yeah, I think I was hanging back with Steve a little bit, but curiosity's got the better of me, so I'm following everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I know who's with us.
And I think at this point it's Eamon and Ian, then me and Natalia, then Robert.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In which case, then, as you get to the top of the central tower, at this point it is just the one staircase which winds up towards the central doorway. Going through that doorway, you can see this. You can see and hear the sound, the origin of the chant. I believe three of you have already met her, Miriam Coach.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
She was.
She was on the plane. She was on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She is stood over what seems to be a platform in the middle of the room. It's almost domed, almost as if it's a globe of sorts. And even though it's stone, it seems to be growing in front of her as she's chanting, slowly expanding and gradually getting larger and larger. As she's chanting, this thing is moving as she's pulling her arms away from her. She has her back to you, so she can't see you. But beyond her, the room is circular with a series of windows at regular intervals. Mm-hmm. There's no glass, it's just open gaps in the stone that you can then see out into onto the skyline. So with this raging fire in the distance. Apart from where there should be a window immediately opposite you as you come in, there is an arch, almost like an alcove in the wall, where something stands or sits or is fixed into the wall. That's where I need you to make a sanity roll for those of you that can see it. So, Combs, you are blissfully at the back while everyone else is looking through the door.
Beautiful. That's how I like it.
Pass.
Ooh, fail.
Pass.
Ooh, fail. 98.
Are we doing with the double thing, like 88? Is that bad? I mean,
that's Delta Green.
That's
so
Delta
that's
Green.
not regular.
I fail.
Right. For those that pass, it's a D3. Those of you that fail, it's a D10.
A D10?
Mm-hmm.
Man, what the heck are we looking at?
All right.
Oh, I rolled a 10. Yes, that's beautiful. Max damage. All right.
Got 5.
But I have the gun.
I got a 5 as well.
Right. For those of you that roll 5 or more in one go, can I have your int rolls, please?
Int. All right. Yeah, quit rolling these dice, obviously.
I passed my intelligence.
I
The
did
roll
not.
you never want to pass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. I failed. Yes.
Oh, failure is fine. You remain in control. You remain in control of your actions. For those, I believe everyone has at least some degree of Cthulhu Mythos skill.
Yes.
If you don't, hey, if you've just lost more than 5 points, you gain 5 points to the Cthulhu Mythos skill.
All right.
If you already have Mythos and you've lost more than 5 or more points in one go, gain 1 further percentile.
Okay, so I just lost 10 sanity.
Have you got any Mythos at the moment?
I have 5.
Right, you gain 1 extra point.
Oh, so I get just 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just 1 extra point. Okay.
Yeah, the first time it's 5, then every other subsequent time it's 1 point.
Gotcha.
And those of us who kept our wits about ourselves, we don't get anything, right?
Yeah, you just take maybe the little hit, but at least see and don't have to worry about flipping out. So those of you, I'll give the description now of what you see, at least the different levels of description. Those of you that passed, what is in the alcove seems to be a stone carving, except that it's moving. Or when you move and you realize it's moving, it's only because it's moving because you're moving. It's almost like looking at an optical illusion. Those of you that have any background in science might actually recognize what at least looks like a 3D representation of a tesseract. It's a 2-dimensional image that exists in a 3-dimensional space, or maybe vice versa in this case. That it's a series of squares, triangles overlaid with one another that interconnect and then seem to pull in and out of each other depending on how the shadows move, depending on relative position of how you're looking at it. For those of you that failed your sand check,
Yep.
This is a warping of time and space. This thing represents a nexus, a crossing of everything, everywhere, and every when. That things are bending and twisting out of proportion here, that it is just looking into the heart of chaos. And that's what causes that little part of you to snap. So for those of you that passed your intelligence roll, how would you like to flip out? I always give players the option here of describing how they want to go crazy.
I have a weapon.
You do.
I do. Let's see. Yeah, Tom, let's do the cards. Why not?
Matthew, can you explain again?
Odd enough, I've got the same one.
All right.
Pick a number 1 to 8.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, Matthew, what was the thing she was conjuring? The thing that was growing? You said? Can you
It
describe
looks like a globe.
a globe? Okay.
You faint.
I faint. All right, cool. The cards have spoken. I go down like a sack of potatoes.
1d10 for that's how many rounds.
Okay, 1 second.
I actually forgot.
Oh my god! I'm out for 9 rounds, people.
It also says that you don't remember why you fainted when you come back.
Oh, good.
It's
guess.
a little more than that, because if you're fainting in the Dreamlands, he doesn't even hit the ground. He just vanishes before he hits the deck. You see him start to fall, and then...
Nice.
What about his gun?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Has gone with him.
All right. Well, I'll get a good night's sleep. Good night, everybody.
Holy shit, Ian, did you... Oh.
Of course, to us, it probably looks like he just fell through the floor.
Yeah, he just kept on going forwards, and then poof, gone.
I mean, we're probably looking like wide-eyed at the spot, then like wide-eyed at each other, and like spot.
I'd say if you're making that kind of noise, then Miriam is going to turn round.
Yeah.
Miss Coach.
I need to be quiet.
Yeah, I was going to walk up and say, you mind if I stand here, Miss Coach?
There is this very familiar, wide-eyed look of terror that crosses her face, as you can almost read it, the neon sign that's above her head that says, "Holy shit, you're not supposed to be here." She then tries to make a roll.
Jacoby, as you walk up. Oh, God, sorry.
A little bit.
She quickly, this look of terror crosses her face, and then she crosses her arms over her chest and vanishes.
Did she do this?
It's something similar. Yeah, that there is the flicker of brief concentration as she closes her eyes.
She was going to answer our questions. Whoa. I'm like, oh,
What is that? And I point at the Tesseract. It's like some sort of modern sculpture that
no, don't go near it.
weird optical illusion.
Nope. That's chaos.
What
Nope.
about the globe that she was chanting in front of? Did that
What's
just
with that?
No, the globe is still there. It's half formed. It looks like a map of the Earth, at least the kind of the Western Hemisphere, the Northern and Western Hemisphere.
Has it stopped growing now that she's vanished?
Yeah, it has.
Is Steve still assuming outside the room, right? The other rest of us are in here, and Steve, like, is Natalia and Steve in here?
I'm still here.
I'm behind them on the other side of the door, like hearing you guys scream, and I'm like, good thing I didn't go in there.
But Natalia is in there, right? With
Yeah, she's right next to me.
and two of us. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna approach the globe like, all right, safe, maybe. I'm just like, I point at the Tesseract thing. I'm like, don't go near that, Jacoby.
Don't go near any of it, I say, from around the corner.
But it's so interesting looking.
Don't. It's.
And this globe, what is this? What do we see when we actually look at it? Does it look artificial, or does it look like we're looking at the Earth from space?
No, it looks like stone. It looks like a carved representation of the Earth. But you can roll tradecraft. Anyone that looks at the map.
Tradecraft. Oh, I think I have that.
Yeah, we all, I think, have that in.
That's right.
No, I don't pass.
24 out of 50. That's a hard success.
Yep. Okay. Anyone else?
crit fail if that matters?
Okay. They may be capital cities. They might be minor cities. There's no dividing lines between countries. That's about the only thing you can see on it for with a failure, even a critical failure. For Eamon, there are varying sizes of dots that represent major cities. There are about 3 classifications made with 3 different size rings. With a hard success, you reckon these are probably points in the event of a nuclear war. These list the varying priorities of targets.
Mm.
So I'm kind of shouting for everybody to get in here, approaching it. Then I stop shouting when my eyes widen up as I realize what I'm looking at or think I'm looking at. Right.
What are you seeing? What are you realizing?
Oh, there you see. This is Moscow. This is New York City, and I'm pointing out and think of a nuclear war, right? All nukes go off and hit all major locations. You recognize these landmarks here? This one, Vancouver. Los Angeles.
Are we in a war room?
Of
Does it feel like a war room? I mean, look at this.
who the fuck was that chick there? Who was she?
I shout from around the corner. Perhaps they're awaiting refugees from the upcoming nuclear war.
Steve, just get in here. Stop yelling at us.
I turn the corner and I'll walk inside. Do I need to make a sanity roll?
You certainly do.
Okay.
Okay, don't look to your right. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Pay no attention to the 4th dimensional object behind the globe.
59. What is my sanity? 53. So that's a fail.
Okay, that's a 1d10.
Fuck you guys. 4. All right, so I'm down to 49. All right.
Yeah, you don't have to worry too much at that point. There's, it's not sanity blasting in the sense you're going to flip out.
Well, that's good.
One thing, if those of you that want to try this, you can give me Cthulhu Mythos rolls to see if you can recognize what this thing is on the far side of the wall.
I have a good chance, but I'm going to take the roll. Let's do it. Come on, 6.
No.
Nope.
It looks mathematical.
It does. Very mathematical.
Like something that Carl Sagan would have drawn up on the screen.
Okay, no one passed?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we will leave that as a mystery for the moment. Just this mathematical chaos, we should call it.
Can we hear anything from it?
No, nothing. It is completely silent.
And when we stand still, does it move? Or only when we move, it changes perspective? And
Only when you move. It is, those of you that flipped out a bit, as you slowly come back to your senses, you will see that it is actually stationary. It is just a very intricate, carved optical illusion.
Puts
on Euclidean.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it is Euclidean, just in another dimension. Fascinating, as Spock would say.
Well, I would look at Natalia and be like, you have an idea?
Yeah, does it mean anything to you, physicist?
Can I roll physics on that?
Yeah, I'd say you could do.
She gets a 1. You have no idea what it is.
Are you kidding me? I gotta switch out my dice. My shit, that was an 86. I have no idea. This is completely.
Again, the closest, because physics and maths are very closely linked. Basically, one is a practical application of the other. You recognise it as a form of a representation of a tesseract, but that's about as much as you're going to get.
Okay.
So I guess this rules out going and talking to Miriam Coach at this time. She may not want to talk to us back in the real world.
It may be me she's afraid of, and I don't know why she's afraid of me.
Yeah, you scared her right out of here, didn't you?
Now, there was 2 sets of footprints coming up here, too.
Mm-hmm.
But we only found 1. But did we see where the other set left off?
Was Miriam barefoot, or was she the one with the shoes?
Ooh.
Miriam was the one with the shoes. Yeah, you haven't seen where the barefoot one leads. They've come up here, they go back down, they go around and around. Although...
Is there any more to this room? Is there doors going out other than the one we came in?
This is the highest point of the whole area. There's no way further up from here. You're as high as you're going to go.
So we're supposed to find answers, but I don't know.
So, Eamon, didn't you tell us that in our collective dream at the beginning, she said all you had to do was ask?
Yeah, because we said something about the Brotherhood of the Skin, right? Like, what could happen to him? Like, H might have known.
Should we ask something?
What's that?
Should we ask something?
That's what I was thinking. Honestly, I didn't want to say. I was
Make an ask roll.
She just said all she do is she said seek the tower. She didn't say anything else, and then she disappeared. She was like looking at me in the face while I was laying in my bed. I was pretty sure I was going to piss myself, so I didn't really say much more. And then we were here. So
you're in love with her, aren't you?
She's not that pretty when you look at her up close. Something wrong. I like emotion to the body. I'm like, there's something wrong down there. I'm not trying to be sexist in any way or perverted. It's wrong.
Matthew, can I focus on the globe?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Turkey and the neighboring countries. If I look at Turkey, is there a big old circle in Turkey?
There's 2, Ankara and Istanbul.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a nuclear war. Someone is going to trigger a nuclear war. And it's what I suspect Kazakov is coming to us for. He is having a moral quandary because the Russians are going to do a preemptive strike probably.
Oh.
Turkey is NATO's stockpile of nukes. It's the closest country to the Soviet bloc. The United States military has all of our nukes right in Turkey. So if the Russians were to do a preemptive strike on Istanbul, NATO would then do a strike on Moscow. Moscow would retaliate. Cuba would attack DC. It's a huge... We're sitting on a powder keg. So I think that's what Kazakov is doing here.
Let me ask a quick question to Matthew. Matthew, when we turn around and walk back towards the door that leads out, when we look out the door, are we seeing the city spread out?
Yeah, or through the various windows, because you've come up through like a hatch in the floor. That then there's an archway that covers it.
So okay, I'm sorry. So as I walk over to one of the windows, I say, "So, Combs, you're thinking this is a prediction of the future. This is what's going to happen if somebody's warning us."
I don't necessarily think that. I think that H has a vested interest, much like most people. Mutually assured destruction benefits no one. I think that Section 46 and H have a vested interest in stopping nukes going off. I don't think, however, that this is H. I think that the disciples of the Tesseract are preparing. They have some kind of knowledge that this is going to happen, and they are preparing for people to come here. It's like a bubble. The world out there is fucked up, but in this dream world, you're safe. The question is, how do they know that this is going to happen? And also, how does this connect to Kazakov? Because it's connected. Kazakov was a nuclear sub commander, captain. He is coming to the United States side, the NATO side, because he has information that could kill a whole lot of people. It's nukes. We're in Turkey. It's nukes.
From behind Steve, you just hear this fairly gentle... everyone else other than Steve, because it's behind him, can give me a spot hidden roll.
There we go. Not talking about balls of yarn again and just...
Passed.
I totally did not.
I got exactly half.
Ah, good.
Oh, I got a 10. So 10 out of 60.
Gotcha. So that'll be an extreme. Mm-hmm. Okay. If anyone failed, you hear the clap. You don't see anything. You just hear it coming from his direction. Those of you that got a regular success, you see a faint glimpse that someone is stood exactly in his silhouette, right behind him. And you can just see the outline of the hands clapping and moving. On a half success, it's definitely a female figure dressed in yellow. Those that got, I think only Volkova got a success here. You catch that, definitely a female figure dressed in yellow, a veil over her face, clapping. And reminiscent of what Eamon said, there's something inhuman about the structure of the body. There are bulges that exist under those tattered rags of clothing of this dress. And yet this somewhat, if anything, beautiful face that's hidden beneath the veil, but with this just malicious grin as she looks directly at you. At that point, we're going to have to see where our friend Mr. Postgate's gone, because you're waking up. Does anyone have... Yeah.
He seems to have left.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he contactable? See if he's still around and wants to come back now that because he knows what's happened in the intervening time via private message before he disappeared.
Hold on.
So I wonder if he can come back.
I thought maybe he wasn't feeling good because I didn't know why he left.
I didn't catch anything to that effect in the chat.
Perhaps his internet went out.
That's possible too.
Mm-hmm.
And damn, I can't believe, I was spot on, and then now we're waking up. Dumb. This is what I get for having grandpa conversation at Turkey.
Now, Matthew, did I wake up earlier than them?
You wake up about a couple of seconds apart. Time runs very differently in the Dreamlands, so
Okay.
even though it's a matter of minutes for game time, it's only a matter of seconds between you waking up. In fact, it's about a few minutes for Postgate once he wakes up. and so he's done stuff while you've been asleep.
Okay.
Then Summerton wakes up, and then a few seconds after that, the rest of you wake up.
I've sent him a message.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll go for the minute then, because I know what he's doing. He can potentially we can bring him back in later. Otherwise, the rest of you find yourselves waking up, and it's morning.
I'm going to reach my hand in my pocket. Do I have a fork?
Give me a luck roll.
Do I have my weapon?
Yeah.
You have your normal weapon where it should be.
Like if it was on a holster, but the one that I had in my hand did
Though
not
it's not
come
in your
with
hand
me.
it's not in your hand when you wake up.
Okay.
I got 29 out of 37.
You put your hand into your pocket. For a second, you feel something. Do you want to give me a power roll?
Sure.
Our handguns are gone from Dream World. Let's see if we get them.
69 out of 60. So no, I didn't pass.
Okay. You catch hold of it, and for a second, you feel the cold of metal, but it just evaporates.
Man, nice try. Just like
that the taste of something, but it's not quite there, and now it's gone.
So I think Eamon gets up, grabs the fifth of whiskey he's been nursing that they got from the other night, takes a drink of it, opens the door, is like, bottlenose, fucking dolphin, whatever. Here.
That's what I've been waiting to hear. And I sit up.
He's just hollering like and then he takes another big swig. He's like, oh, jeez.
And as I'm putting my coat on, I say, I think that that our priority now, in my opinion, is Kazakov. As much as I love, looking into the occult, nukes going off across the world is not good. It's not in anybody's interest. The cults are ours. I step out into the living room.
What if it is one of the cults?
That's I have to say that it's interesting that the disciples of the Tesseract know that this is going to happen. So perhaps, and something I was going to say if we were still in the dream is, no one would necessarily want to drop bombs, Russia or the United States. Mutually assured destruction is mutually assured destruction. Everyone knows that the other side has nukes, so no one wants to be the first one to drop the load. So why are they predicting this to happen? Someone has to have influenced it. So I think that the two are connected. I think that we need to get Kazakov over to our side and then figure out who the fuck is doing this.
Right, they're intertwined.
Yeah.
H has something to do with it. Oh, we met H, Ian.
Again.
Well, actually, I don't know. I didn't see her, so actually, I unless I recognize her.
I'm just going to get dressed, grab my gun and cigarettes, and head back up to the roof so we can debrief again, I guess. Have some coffee.
Well, I guess we should be talking down here, should we? Oops. You're talking straight up to the roof.
Okay, yeah. Again, you get to the roof. There's the sound of the minarets calling call to prayer. It is very early morning, pretty much around sunrise.
I'm like,
pass the bottle around to any who accepts.
If anybody is actually spying on us by now, they've looked over here and say, hey, they keep going up to the roof.
Yeah.
And drinking and smoking a lot.
And leaving during the day so that we can get up to the roof and put bugs up there. Get Robert to...
I'll riff on that then. If you're looking around, being a bit paranoid and wondering, is there anyone watching you? You can give me a spot hidden roll.
All right. I have a high spot hidden, I think.
No.
39. What is that?
Ha! I made it. Regular success.
Almost a half. I got 39 out of 37 for half. So I succeeded, but I didn't succeed by half.
Right. In which case, those of you that succeed, you're having a look around, looking at the other rooftops, and then realizing there's no one else out on the top of the buildings around you. You casually look down down onto the street below. It's deserted because it's very early in the morning, apart from one person. Looks like a lady you haven't seen yet, or haven't seen before, on the other side of the street looking up at you. And just as she's looking up, she has this fairly stern expression on her face, almost just emotionless, but focused, looking up pretty much almost directly at you, making eye contact with each of you as you look. Each of you that passes your role looks down towards her. She's dressed in black and white, a white blouse with a black jacket over the top and this black knee-length skirt. She just reaches into her pocket and then vanishes.
Are we still streaming? Are we still in the dream world?
You hear the sounds of the city around you. You can smell the normal morning of Istanbul. The sound of the prayer speakers are blasting. This appears as real as you're getting.
Maybe
I just light a cigarette and say, now, as if it couldn't get any weirder, we got people disappearing in broad damn daylight.
So that's what you saw also.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
It's obvious that the disciples of the Tesseract are the good people. We need to talk to them. We need to speak with them, because I think that whoever is organizing and preparing for nuclear annihilation of the entire Earth are the people who also assassinated Illness. They may also be the same people who eliminated the Brotherhood of the Skin.
You're basing this all on the dream that we just had.
I'm basing this on knowledge of the area. We're sitting on a stockpile of nukes, and Russia's right that way, about 100 miles. And I'm also basing this on the fact that we've had the same dream with the same person, the same place. And I'm telling you that all the pieces are interlocked. They're all together. You know, Kazakov is a nuclear scientist who wants to affect because of moral quandary, because he doesn't want to kill a whole bunch of people. Our dream suggests annihilation. We found a globe that suggests annihilation. We're sitting on a payload of, over 250 nukes. Like, it's nukes.
We also saw Miriam Coach, who said that we shouldn't be there, and then she disappeared.
I think that's because H put us there.
So you think it's H versus the Tesseract?
I think that H has a vested interest in what we're doing because, like I said, it's in no one's interest to blow up the Earth except for crazy people.
Well, what makes you think that the Tesseract people aren't the ones trying to blow up the Earth? That sure felt like a war room, like they were planning on something.
Yeah.
Why would they be harboring...
Planning for refugees.
Why would they be doing that?
For their own people.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they still know that's going to happen. And how do they know that?
The cult wants to survive while everybody else gets destroyed. That's crazy.
Maybe they've picked out 144,000 of them that will survive, right?
There you go, like the biblical prophecy.
No matter what, they know it's going to happen. We need to speak with them. Good or bad, we need to determine.
Well,
that.
we know where she works. We know where she is.
Well,
Yeah.
we saw the strange globe, and it was obvious there were tactical targets.
Target.
So why would they have a map of tactical targets if they weren't the ones setting off the bombs?
Like I just said.
Well, maybe it's intelligence.
Yeah, like I just said, it doesn't matter if they're good or bad. We need to speak with them no matter what. How do they know about that?
Right. We have more questions than answers right now. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions, but we know where she works. I say we go talk to her.
I agree. We got
broad
to act on it.
daylight in here on the Earth plane or whatever the hell this is.
Well, I'm not so sure that I should go because she seems freaking terrified of me for some strange reason. So I'll stay back. I'll leave off.
Is that a hypothesis or is that fact?
She
Could it,
was
couldn't have been,
terrified of
could
me
it have
on
been,
the
could it have
airplane.
been somebody else?
Well, I don't know. She seemed terrified of me. That was my strongest impression.
Mm-hmm.
It was exactly the same look that she gave you on the plane.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Well,
give me a couple more cups of coffee and I'll be ready to go.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a little early. It's like 3 a.m, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's sunrise, so it's
That's what I
about
thought. The Musins were calling, so that's sunrise.
Give her 3 hours at least to get up.
well, and we got to prepare we got to go over to the University of Istanbul anyways, get to them before they start their classes.
Mhm.
Or after.
Yes, let's see if she has office hours, shall we?
Yeah.
She's an architect. You can walk in and talk to them anytime you want because they're not doing anything but drawing little pictures on there.
We should also figure
All
out
the architects listening to this broadcast, please address your emails of anger to Tom and not the rest of us.
Don't break the fourth wall.
we should also think, Ian, about checking in with illnesses, coworkers. Like who was he friends with? Whoever he was closest with is probably part of the cult.
That's probably a pretty good guess.
Yeah. So
okay. We've got a little bit of time left. I think we can do at least a preliminary head over to the university.
Sure. Who's coming? I know that.
Before we go, can I go downstairs and make sure Postgate's still there?
Postgate is not.
Has his room been slept in?
Yes, it looks like his door is actually unlocked when you go to look at it. I'm going to make the assumption that that he's ill and that's why he hasn't returned back to the screen.
Or the internet went down.
Yeah, for some reason he's not here, but I can weave that down, factor that into what's happening.
Okay.
That it looks like he's woken up and then got out of his room, and if anything, it looks like the front door to the apartment complex is very slightly open. He has left the building, quite literally.
Well, I'll wait here in case he comes back.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I don't want to scare Miriam Coach anymore than I've already scared her for some reason. Maybe if she actually talks to you, ask her why she's afraid of me, please.
I have a guess, but you may not like that.
My hair?
No. I mean, if they know that nukes are going to happen, I think that they have predictive information about you.
I'm a biologist.
Combs is hitting the mark quite a bit. I'm going to ask for a mythos roll.
Really? I was just a guess.
No, I'm going to give you a mythos roll with a bonus die, in fact, because you are putting a lot of pieces together. You might actually realize what it is that you're dealing with.
Okay. Okay. So the first roll I got is a 52. That's definitely not a pass.
Mm-hmm.
No. 63. No.
Pity.
I'll just keep hitting the mark next episode.
But yeah, you are close on a lot of levels.
Don't tell me.
Well, we need to think about Jacoby's past.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that they know that's true. I think that his past has something to do with this. At the same time, I think it's something that hasn't happened yet. I don't know. We don't have. There's too. I have too little information to go on right now on my board that's over here.
Your wall full of red strings.
It's not a wall full of red strings. It's a binder full of notes, but we'll call it the crazy binder, regardless.
If you need me during the day, I'm going to go into my office and check on a few things.
Maybe someone could call the consulate. Maybe Postgate is there. Maybe anyone who's not going to the University of Istanbul could try to track Henry down.
Well, that's who's going over to the university.
I thought you all were going.
I might stay back.
He's a grown man and an agent. He knows what he's doing. Or he's dead.
Always
Wow,
up.
there's a lot of real estate between those two statements. I guess it's like, oh well, he's either okay or he's dead. There's no in between.
There is no in between. That's
Well, the in between is captured. But let's ignore that one because
Right.
Well, if he's captured, then he's dead.
I've seen Casino Royale. I know what happens.
So, all right.
I've watched Sandbaggers.
Hey.
Okay, so I'm going to the university like right now. I know
I'm
that.
not. I'll stay.
Okay. In which case, then you're going to get there maybe about an hour or so after sunup. The university is the former Ministry of War's offices. It's a very grand, impressive, it was neoclassical in a lot of respects, building and complex that is just off. I'm going to make sure my pronunciation is right here. Bayezid Square. It's at this point, there's not many people around. Apart from the pigeons, there are shitloads of pigeons here, everywhere. There are also what looks to be around the edge of the square, areas where market stalls would be set up. So this is a place where life is going to slowly start coming here, and there's normally a market here most days, but because you're getting here so early, no one's set up yet.
What is how do you spell the marketplace name?
I will get you the exact. Swing on a second. It is B.
Thomas, you have access to the file we have on all the spellings and all of the names and everything, don't you?
Yes, I have the Google Doc.
It is Beyazit.
Okay. Let's see. I just want to know if I've ever been there. Yes, I have.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been there. Okay, so I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, so grand, impressive frontage of what was the Ministry of War's building, which is now the university at this point.
Sure.
It is shut because it is ridiculously early in the morning. However, if you are lingering around there with anyone else, you will eventually catch sight of the first few of the admin staff will be arriving to basically open up the front doors and start manning the desks.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, there's benches in the square.
There's loads of them, yeah.
Not in the square, yeah. So I'm going to take a seat. I'll wait. I don't know who all came with me, but I'm just sitting and waiting.
I'm with you.
Okay. You're my bro, Ian.
Yeah, I think I went too.
You're also my bro, Robert.
What are we going to ask her?
I think the conversation will kind of take care of itself when she sees us walking. Now, here's something, we can't bum rush her,
No.
We don't want to be waiting outside her office, right? But we also don't want to be just sitting here waiting for her. I think, she's going to be on her guard, right?
Yeah, and I'm not really good at talking. I'm a tactician. I kill people for a living. So
I know
maybe one of you two should do it.
Right. We're, Bob and I, we can handle this. We've worked together before. We're fine.
You were on the plane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she might recognize us as being friends of Jacoby's, so.
I just think we should be as direct as possible. What do you think, Robert and Ian? I think we should just be direct.
Yeah, I think the conversation is gonna. If we can talk to her, if she's not spooked, if she may not even come in today, there's a million different possibilities here. But once we get her across the table, then talking to her, then I think the conversation is going to kind of take care of itself.
I was going to say in the pause there, just to check then, where are Eamon and Natalia?
I was either going to follow Jacoby around or recover at home, depending on what he was doing. But I was going to. We weren't well rested, right?
No, not particularly.
No. Yeah, I don't need to start looking for that Adam guy because I think I did that and failed to find this guy. Right? I don't know if I can look deeper or have an idea to look elsewhere for this guy.
So you'd be heading to the consulate then if you're going to follow up that lead. So maybe an hour or so, get some coffee, and then drive up.
I was going to follow him as well, so we can both go to the consulate.
Gotcha. Okay. We'll pick up probably with you at the beginning of the next session then, as you're heading that way.
Sure.
We'll do a quick bit at the outside of the university to wrap up for this evening then. Life starts to gradually appear in the square. As I said, you've got the first few, the admin staff that turn up to the uni to open the doors and start manning the desks and so on. And the first few traders start to appear on the edge of the square, pulling up in vans and unloading their wares. At which point, a beaten-up old VW Beetle pulls up outside in one of the parking bays on the edge of the square, and out gets a rather tired, rather frazzled-looking Miriam, and she starts heading towards the front of the university.
How far away are we from her?
You're across the square, so probably a couple of hundred feet. Well, a couple hundred yards, rather.
Well, my tailing is rusty, but let's just follow her and go to her office. That's, I assume, where she's going. So,
yeah, I won't make you roll for it because she is so frazzled at this point she wouldn't even notice if there was an army following her.
Good.
You do indeed go through the open front entrance to the university, and she does have her own office, and you follow through to see her fumbling with her keys, trying to get into her door. And that's the point when she finally notices that there are 3 people following her.
Merhaba, Miriam.
She just freezes and just drops the keys onto the floor.
Allow me, and I'll pick up the keys and I'll put them in her hand. Let's have a talk, shall we?
She just looks at you surprised, and then looks to Robert, looks over at Steve, but is a little more quizzical with him.
I just want to say we're just here to talk.
But I thought you were here to kill me.
No, just to talk. We may have mutual interests, and I actually take the keys from her, and I'll unlock the door for her and then open it for her.
Okay, you open up the door into the office. It's a relatively good-sized office behind there. You can see there are Venetian blinds that are covering the far window behind the desk. There's also a very nicely painted representation of the tower that you saw in your dreams the previous night on one wall.
I think we have a lot to talk about. And I just kind of nod my head toward the tower. Shall we?
She nods very slowly. I guess. I'm just
Excellent.
None of this makes any sense. I thought I'd be dead by now.
No. Why would you think that?
Because I thought you'd come here to kill me. That's what my vision showed me, that you were the people that came here to take care of me like you did with Yilmaz.
We didn't have anything to do with his death either, I'm pretty sure. We just want to talk. Maybe we could have some coffee and talk. When's your first class?
And not till this afternoon. I just got paperwork I was going to take care of this morning.
Please. We're just here to talk.
Okay,
Shall
she goes on through. There is a small kettle and sink in one corner where she just indicates, say, if you want to make coffee, there's stuff over there.
I know how to make Turkish coffee. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, she sits down in her chair, turns around and makes sure the Venetian blinds are still shut. So there's at least a little bit of light in here, but you can flick the light switch and the one bulb comes on.
Oh, I turn around while I'm making coffee, and I make eye contact with her, and I go, none of this, okay? None of this.
It won't work here. We're awake.
Good. Just making sure. And I continue making coffee.
Okay. Yeah, she nods.
I've killed a lot of people but I don't think that we've ever killed illness. So why would you think that we would kill him or kill you?
She just looks at you like she just said the sky's purple. And she shakes her head. But ever since he died, I've beseeched Daleoth to ask, who is the person most likely to kill me? And I saw your faces.
Our faces specifically, or someone else's?
Well, she nods towards Robert and Ian and says, and the other man who was with you before in the white coat.
So you commune with something, or someone gives you this information, correct?
Yep, she nods. We receive our visions from the Tesseract.
That's what I thought.
Was it in the same dream state that we were in before?
No, I mean, I was a dreamer long before I heard of Daleoth.
So the Tesseract, because it bends time and space, you're able to look within it, and it's able to show you what is to come.
Past, present, future, all.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Then okay.
It's how we've seen the nuclear apocalypse and why we're trying to at least survive at least some portion of humanity there.
Okay. I'm done. That's all I needed.
Count that as a victory. Yeah.
Validation.
Cartwheeling all over the place.
The problem is that she says nuclear holocaust, and Steve goes, yes!
Yeah, there's kind of, if that was the case, there'd be this kind of, holy crap! across her face.
Okay, well, how about I ask this before I let my associates take the reins? The Tesseract is a living being.
The Tesseract, Daleoth, the Render of the Veils, it has many names.
Yeah, it's a fourth dimensional being. That's why that's why it can do that. It's
outside of time and space, or outside of sphered space, anyway.
Yeah, it's fourth dimensional, so its body is length, width, height, and time.
Yes,
I can't imagine what that looks like or how you commune with it. But is it benevolent? Is it neutral? Is it malevolent? Like, it's just showing you these things for no reason?
No, she kind of not ums and ahs, but you can see that she's trying to think of the right words to say. I think you need to meet with some of my associates. In particular, Aegir will be able to give you a more, I think, a philosophical but more accurate answer to that question. In particular, I think that in a way it is benevolent, but it is only that way because concepts of good and evil are irrelevant or completely alien to it. It exists and does what it does because that is what it is. It does not have an agenda. It does not wish humanity ill, but it does not. That's not to say that it doesn't wish it good. It just doesn't wish humanity anything. It is just outside of everything. It's allowed us to foresee what is coming. I mean, Aegil has been a priestess to the Render of the Veils for centuries. She will be able to give you answers you need. And on that note, I think we will call it for the night.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now it's getting interesting.
This is what the audience wanted.
Real good. Real good.
Okay, our players for this episode included Jeff Wilkins, Bill Mize, Lucas Glasshauer, Mick Swan, Wayne Worthy, Thomas McKeon, and myself with Matthew Sanderson as the Keeper of the Secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We like reading them. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft. in the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.